So we here at the RHS have gone through all the literature describing what are the key ingredients to include when you're building a well-being garden. My name's Ashby Sachs. I'm a researcher in Wellbeing and Horticulture here at the RHS. And today, I'm excited to walk you through the 7 simple design principles that we have distilled for you so that you can design a well-being garden too. Research shows that having natural soundscapes around us can really lower our stress hormones. So try to think of creative ways that you can incorporate natural soundscapes into your space. There's great ideas such as having maybe a fountain or a pond with that sound of that moving water, or maybe tall grasses to enjoy that rustling sound near you in the breeze. Also, a wonderful idea is to plant for birds. Research shows that listening to the sound of birds can really improve our mood. So any way that you can choose plants that encourage birds will allow you to enjoy the lovely sounds of birdsong in the morning. Having that feeling of being enclosed in your garden is especially soothing. Think about creative ways that you can have your sort of hidden corner to yourself in your garden if you can, through higher plantings, so you'll have your own little space to yourself. So incorporating this feeling of enclosure as well as the natural soundscapes will really increase the feeling of serenity in your space. Another strategy is to think about how can my garden simulate all 5 of my senses. So have some fun with scent and color. Think about aromatics such as lavender or rosemary, which are proven to boost our mood and reduce stress. Another great way is to play with color. RHS-led research shows that these warm reds and orange flowers can really energize us, whereas cooler flower colors such as blue or purple can calm and soothe us after a long and stressful day. So an important part of having a multisensory garden is planting a diversity of plants so that you'll have year-round interest for both you and the wildlife in your space. Sometimes when you're designing a garden, it can feel sort of high stakes and stressful. However, consider this design principle, just integrating exploration and play into your space. And play is not just for kids. Consider fun elements like maybe having a swing or planting a really unusual plant that you might not expect, like carnivorous plants. Or maybe you want to start experimenting and exploring supporting insect life in your garden through maybe starting with a log pile and just seeing what shows up. So consider the theme of spatial organization. So what does that mean? So the idea is to try to cordon off different sections of your garden for different themes or moods. So maybe you have sort of a quiet area with just a tucked away seat for contemplation, or maybe more of a social area for entertaining. And you don't really need to have a big garden for this, but there's different strategies for achieving this. Simple things like maybe having a little step change, or you could just plant a tree or have a hedgerow or even have sort of like an archway like this with vines carrying over it. So the next 2 concepts are accessibility and wayfinding. And these apply more to if you have, say, a public-facing garden, a place where the public will enjoy your space. And what do they mean, wayfinding? First, it's very straightforward. Do people know where to go in your space? Are the sight lines and routes intuitive enough that people moving through the garden feel confident and safe moving through your space? So the next concept is accessibility. So in your garden that might be open to the public, are all areas of the garden able to be enjoyed by everyone? Consider the pathways, if they are smooth enough and wide enough to be used by someone in a wheelchair. And also, are there different areas of the garden that can be enjoyed both in the sun and in the shade? So the final principle is cultural significance. So this means simply just putting a bit of yourself in your garden. At your home, this might look like maybe planting a special tree to remind you of a loved one that passed, or maybe just putting some of your children's artwork along the fence line. And then if you have a more public-facing garden, it's a bit more complicated, but it can also be really fun. One example I saw was a school in Sussex created a planting bed in the shape of an iconic ship in their community that everyone knew about, and sort of infused the garden with that sense of place and belonging. So there you have it. Those are the 7 design principles for creating a well-being garden. And it's important to know you don't have to do all 7. You can start with 1 or 2 and see how you do. And if you'd like to learn more, you can go to our website and download all 7 design principles for free, and that link will be in the description.
If you find our videos helpful, click the like, subscribe, and notification buttons below to help us reach more people with free expert advice.